I've have been off for the summer, and this is my first live coaching in at least 2 months, and it feels really good to be back. My name is Kim Ann Curtin, the Wall Street coach, and I'm very excited today because I'm going to have Jason Shapiro join me. As those who are regulars know, I've done live coaching, for years now, and I try to bring in a trader to do some technical coaching, and that is what Jason is going to do today for two volunteers. So my hope is that you guys will, volunteer. We're going to take in two volunteers today. I will do the coaching around the emotional side of your trading, and of course, Jason will do the technical side of the trading coaching. And the reason this is happening today is because I'm very excited to have Jason now be on the team of the Wall Street Coach. And he is going to be, for the first time ever, be available for hire to coach traders on how they're literally trading. So it's a really exciting time for me and my business to have Jason be available to traders. I've always wanted to have a technical trader be able to, be involved in the contribution to the traders that we at the Wall Street Coach try to do and give. And so I'm very happy to have him be part of this team now and be available for you guys, because having somebody like Jason with his decades and decades of experience is a game changer. And part of the reason I wanted to have this conversation today is one of the things that's so fascinating about September and coming into the work world after Labor Day is it is the one of the highest periods of time where people hire coaches, believe it or not. Of course, January, as they put their New Year's resolutions in place, but also after the summer ends, they think to themselves, okay, who is helping me finish this year strong? So, because of that, just statistically, I know that Labor Day is a time of year where people afterwards think, oh, I got to get a coach. I thought today would be the great, perfect time to do some live coaching to just, help you guys understand, like, why would you want to work with a coach? Whether you work with me, whether you would want to work with Jason or both of us, I think you want to remember that at the end of the day, all of us need accountability. All of us need encouragement. All of us need to have a sounding board. And it makes a huge difference. You guys know I've been working with coaches and support since I'm 10 years old. So I'm a believer in this. I practice it. And that is a big part of why I'm such an advocate for it. So I am just getting this started. Jason's going to join us in about 10 minutes. And yeah, I'm excited to see who we have. I used to do these weekly, and it's been a while because the summer was just I had to really focus on the second book that I published, which was called Born of Two Oceans. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I think you guys might like it. It is basically a memoir of my paddling coach, which has been just an incredible ride to get to be a part of that journey with him. But I have missed all of you guys, those especially that are the regulars here. It's been, I've missed everybody because we did these on a regular basis and always had just incredible volunteers. So we have a small collection here right now, just looks like about 4 people or 23 people. It's hard to tell. I don't always see the accurate counts on X. It looks like 23. Could be some others too with regards to Instagram. So what are we going to do today? What I'm looking for is two volunteers, two traders who want to have speed coaching from me, which will be about the emotional side of your trading, where you keep revenge trading. Maybe you don't cut a loss. Maybe you leave profits on the table because you get kind of scared and you get out of a trade too soon. If you're dealing with any kind of struggles from an emotional standpoint, then I'd love to have you come in here and get some speed coaching from me. But in addition to me today, what's really special about today is that Jason Shapiro, one of Jack Schwager's Unknown Market Wizards, if you haven't read this one from Jack, it's thick and juicy. This came out 5 years ago in 2020. Jason Shapiro is featured in it, and Jason is going to be joining us today to do speed coaching on the technical side of your trading. So you guys have an incredible opportunity to get some really, really powerful input from a market wizard himself. And I hope you guys will consider coming into this conversation. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this invitation link for those who do want to come in. So, let me get into the comments section. Let's see here. I think I have to show that on the stream. Okay, here we go. So look at this. If you do want to be a volunteer, you can come in right now and we can make sure you're all set up so that when Jason does come in, you're ready to go. And then, when you come into the room, it is going to be live. So keep that in mind. You want to, just be cognizant of the fact that you are on a live stream. Bring, though, the challenge you're struggling with. Again, you can have your kind of the emotional side of your trading issues addressed with me, or you can have your technical side of issues addressed with Jason Shapiro. He'll be joining us in about 7 minutes, but I wanted to come in here and just, speak to how this is for many people, sort of like the start of a new year. I know September with kids going back to school, and I don't know about you, but I had that feeling of like, oh, it's time I have to go buy some notebooks and new pens and pencils. I think anybody who's ever grown up in the West with school and probably in the East as well, starting in September, starting at the end of August, that fall kind of chill hits the air. And it's like, ooh, we have to get everything together. And I think this is like somebody put up on X last week. They said the Monday night before, after Labor Day is kind of like the ultimate Sunday night of the whole school year. And I think that is so true. So anyway, I'm hoping you guys had a great summer. I'm hoping that you got to really recharge and rest. If you watch anything that I talk about on a regular basis, it's an advocacy of more rest and more rejuvenation. In my experience, traders are incredibly hard on themselves, don't necessarily practice enough rest, don't practice enough self care. And ultimately, your ability to act at the top level, which is what you have to be operating at as a trader, is going to require really solid rest. And my hope is that you did get to take some of that time off over this summer to just get yourself, ready for what's ahead, right? It's the last quarter of the year. A lot can happen. The market has been just really quite of a wild ride. So I really want you guys to keep that in mind, to make sure you get as much sleep at night as you can. Make sure that you're giving yourself pattern interrupts so that you're not always at your desk. We know that that's not healthy. You guys know that intuitively, but it's still tempting to overdo it. So what I'm curious about is if anybody has bumped into anything different. I'd have a lot of traders come in to these live coachings every week and speak to the same kind of issue repeatedly. They would say, "Wow, I'm starting to handle this," but then another issue, kind of like whack-a-mole. You get one thing solved and then something else pops up, and I'm just kind of curious, is there something very different happening for you? See if you can just take a look at what your tradings look like for the past quarter, for the past 3 months, for the past year. What do you know, guys? And you can put the comments right here on the box. You could put your comments into X. This is live streaming across all the platforms, including Instagram. So just feel free at any point, guys, to put your questions or to put, anything that you're kind of like, perhaps wrestling with in there so I can address it too. Maybe you want to come in to get some live coaching. maybe you don't, but know that you can put your questions into this chat box and I will see them and be able to, address them. But I'm just curious, is anything new showing up? Is the way the market has been showing, is anything been different from you that you can point to? That's what I'm curious about. All right. Just making sure that was working. So again, if you want me to coach you on something and yet you feel hesitant to come in live, then feel free to put your comments in. For the most part, I think if you do it via X or you do it via YouTube or Instagram, it should all be posted right in front of me. And then I can spitball a response. So part of what I was talking about is this is in a lot of ways, it feels a bit like a fresh start when we come back from Labor Day. And so I wanted to just, kind of talk about what does a fresh start look like. Part of what I think a lot of people do after Labor Day and or after the first of the new year is they have a tendency to put upon themselves an inappropriately strong expectation of themselves. What do I mean by that? You guys have heard me talk at length about this assessment that I use. I call it the Trader Positioning Index. And one of the scores it measures is the way you view yourself, the way that you're expecting yourself to accomplish certain things. And what's fascinating about that score is that what I often see, especially for traders, is that it's a dial, right? So a really healthy score is right in the center. But what I see often is that traders have an expectation of something that is beyond this galaxy. And that is part of what I want you guys to realize can sometimes sabotage you. Hi, Jason. Hopefully, you're coming in. It looks like your camera is off. So
Oh, why is that?
I don't know.
It says on.
Okay, it just, for whatever reason, the camera on your side looks like it might be crossed off. I have you on camera. So,
I don't know what to do about that.
okay. Sometimes our laptops, have something inside that puts the camera off automatically until we change it.
Okay. Well, it's not that important, is it? The camera?
Well, it's all right if you don't have it. Maybe people just go through without it.
Yeah, I mean, it says camera is enabled.
Is enabled.
Is enabled, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, looking what the public sees, it looks like it's not working, but we just don't see you. Which I like to see your face, but it's okay. We'll survive.
Who doesn't?
Everybody likes to see your face. You have a good face, Jason. Yeah, so it just flipped back and forth. So it just, for whatever reason, has a big red X through the camera. And I have you on for sure. Oh, there you are. Now you're there.
Look at me. Who's
There you are. I see you now.
Who's a bigger tech guru than me?
What'd you say?
Who's a bigger tech guru than me?
Yeah. Nobody. So I was just talking about how, statistically, people come to coaching after Labor Day. September is the second biggest peak after the first of the new year. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Isn't that cool? Because people see September as like a fresh start.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I thought this would be a good time to do this. So hopefully, did you have a nice summer?
Did I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have a nice summer.
Did you get to recharge a little? I was talking about how important rest is for traders. So I was just curious.
I did. I took a couple weeks and went on a nice trip with my wife. We had a nice time.
Excellent. Excellent. I was suggesting that we, to the listeners, I came in a little early to just let everybody know that we're both available to do speed coaching today, and see if we get any volunteers. I shared the link for them to use if they do want to come in, and we'll just find out. I haven't done the lives for a couple of months, so we'll see how many viewers. We have about 64 watching us on X, and we have a handful on YouTube. So, those who are here now, if you do want to have some speed coaching with Jason or me today, just click that invite button and I'll be notified you're in the green room waiting for us. Jason, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was just I've told everybody that, you'll be I'm going to be able to offer your coaching miraculously through for the first time ever. And I just wanted to talk a little bit with you about what is it you do with those, you've rarely done this where you've coached traders on the technical aspect of their trading. Would you be willing to just talk a little bit about what what does that do for the trader that does potentially work with you?
Yeah, so I just started doing this because I had somebody come to me, two people actually, and asked me if it was possible to do this type of thing.
Yeah.
And at first I was a little bit hesitant, but as long as I kind of keep it realistic as to the amount of people,
Yeah.
then it can be done. And so far, it's been really good with a couple of people that I'm doing it with. And what we're trying to do is or the way I'm trying to approach it, rather than just be like, hey, read a book on how to trade,
Yeah.
here you go. And then you read it and you say, okay, now I know how to trade or whatever. I'm really trying to tailor it towards the person, first of all.
Mhm.
Who are you? What are you like? What are your skills? What's your skill set? And how we can then leverage that to become good at trading. Everybody's different. Everyone has different skill sets. We want
Yep.
to play to our strengths, obviously.
Yep.
If you're 5'10" and you know how to shoot a three, we're not going to give you lessons on how to play center,
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
a basketball reference, right?
Yep.
We're going to work on how to be a shooting guard because that's what your strengths are.
Yep.
So I've been starting with that, trying to really help figure out who the person is, what they're trying to do, what their strengths are, and then let's figure out how to use your strengths to do this.
Yep.
Many different ways to trade, many different ways to approach the market. So we're trying to tailor it towards that.
Yep.
And once we get there, then we slowly try to build a process to try and take advantage of those strengths. And within that, of course, I try to impart upon people what are my strengths, hopefully,
Mhm.
what has gotten me to have some success doing this, so that they can incorporate that and those ideas as well into what they are doing and
Yep.
hopefully improve upon it as well. Um, and then what's been great is we're able to, since I do it during the day, we're able to go through in live time as the markets are going and start to look at, okay, you wanted to put on this trade because of this reason. Okay. So how is that playing out? Right?
Yep.
Is it playing out as expected? Is it not playing out as expected? What should we be looking? Your long whatever, some asset. How is it doing today? Why is it doing that today? Does that make sense within the realm of what you're trying to capture, or does it not make sense?
Yeah.
And then of course all the classic things. Where should we put stops based on this idea? How should we size the trade based on this idea? And then, of course, there's also the monitoring of, did you actually execute your stop? You know what I mean? Are you actually executing your risk management as is going to benefit you over the course of time? Are you going on tilt because you just had 3 losing trades in a row, and so now you are starting to lose your discipline because you're going on tilt a little bit, and over time, people will find, I believe, that all of these things will add up a lot
Yeah. Yeah.
as they sort of go down this journey of difficulty.
Yeah. Do you feel that even just all your conversations with traders, especially just in your Discord room and just having, I'm sure, plenty of DMs in your X account, what do you find, if anything, are kind of the top three blind spots traders have?
I've said this before. I've said this a number of times. I think the number one blind spot, to use your term, is the idea that people think that making money over time in trading is about predicting where the market is going to go.
Mm.
And I am not a believer. I mean, clearly, you have to predict it's going up. You buy it and it goes up, but that's really not over time what's going to get you there. What is going to get you there is focusing on what will provide you good return versus the risk you are taking over time, right? How to determine that.
Yeah.
Not really determine whether a market's going up or down, but whether if it's going to go up, it has a chance of going up 5 times what it would be if it went down and you got stopped, right?
Yeah.
That over time is what trading is. I'm 110% convinced of that.
Yeah.
That's what trading is. Getting into good risk reward trades over time and realizing that they're not all going to work. So we take our small loss, and when they do work, we take our big gain, right? And that's what's going to get us there. And I think that's what most people miss. And if we can get to the point where we believe that, then we can start focusing our time on trying to figure out, well, where do I find these type of, where and how do I find these type of trades?
Yeah.
What kind of situations? And then again, that's going to fall into what type of person you are and what kind of accomplishment, what you're trying to accomplish. But there's plenty of ways to find these type of things. If you're a breakout trader, a trend trader, a counter trend trader, whatever it is, which is going to be a function of sort of your personality and what you're comfortable with.
Mhm.
Then we can focus on where to find those type of setups
Yeah.
that offer much better return than the risk that you're taking for them. So I would say that's probably the top thing that people miss,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
And to go right along with it, the other thing that they miss is you're going to have losing trades a
Yeah.
lot. I have over 50% losing trades myself, but the whole game is to keep those small, so how do we do that, and how do we stay disciplined to doing that? And I think part of the coaching and part of all that
Yeah.
is that, you know what I mean? I've been guilty in my life of not respecting my stops and all that because I didn't want to take my loss and all that. And over time, that has been horrible. It's not something I ever do now.
Yeah.
I take my loss and look, sometimes I buy something, I get stopped out, and then it goes right back up. And I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done it, But I know damn well over time that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
I know that to the point that I don't even care. I get stopped and then the thing goes back up. I really don't even care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've accepted that happens plenty of times, but over the long haul, that's what's going to save me.
Yeah.
So, like I say, having someone there maybe to help you deal with that, it's very hard. We are raised and we are humans. So clearly we have egos and we don't like to be wrong. And when you get stopped out of something and you take your loss, you are proven wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that.
No.
But that's a major part of what needs to be done. You have to be able to accept that. So those are really, I think, the major issues. There's obviously a ton of other issues as well, but
Yeah.
the other issues, I think people have the wrong idea just from the get-go as to what trading can offer.
Yeah.
There's this feeling like, oh, if I could just save up some money, I can get trading, I can get rich. Well, yeah, you can also get poor. The vast majority, well over 90%, of people that attempt this end up losing money in the end.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. That's not me trying to be a jerk.
No.
The brokerage houses have plenty of data that they have shown that show that this is in fact the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even I've seen data on like foreign exchange trading in banks. These guys are supposed to be the insiders and they have all the information and they make money in those desks. Their foreign exchange desks make money, but the vast majority, well, more than the vast majority, the money that they make comes from customer order flow, right? So some commercial customer is doing import export, wants to hedge their currency exposure. Okay, they tell the bank, sell me $10 million of this thing at one, and the bank sells it at 102, and fills them at one. And so they make money on those trades. But the rest of the trading that they do, the discretionary trading that they do, has proven over time to actually lose money over time.
Wow. Wow.
And that's, the inside. These are people who sit at a bank all day, see all the flows, see all the information, and trade. They try to trade the FX markets off that, and they have proven. That was a whole thing that was done by the Fed a couple of years ago that showed that data. So you have to realize that it's a very small percentage of people that are going to make this work over time.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if you're going to approach it like the vast majority of people do,
Right.
then you're probably going to end up with the same negative results that the vast majority of people do.
Okay.
So we have to start thinking in terms of how do I approach it differently than the vast majority of people do.
That's right.
That's the first place to start. And again, whether it's whatever type of trading you're doing, we have to start to think in terms of how am I going to do it differently than the vast majority of people, because the vast majority of people lose money doing it, and we don't want to be in that. We want to be in the small percentage, not the big percentage. Which, again, by definition, means we want to take the trade that the small percentage of people will take and avoid the trades that a large percentage of people will take. Doesn't mean that a large percentage of people don't make money sometimes. They do, right?
Yep.
But this game has to be about overtime, not about sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And that then gets into some of the other things that I do with the people, such as let's start a trading journal, so that we can start tracking these things. That helped me a lot in my life. The fact that I started the trading journal pretty early, and I was able to go back, and we have a tendency towards remembering the trades that worked, and not remembering the ones that didn't. Just blow them off as I just got unlucky there. Whereas if you're keeping a good journal that has like nice tight definitions and stuff, you can actually go back and say, okay, these, let's just say, breakout trades. I had this one great breakout trade and I made a whole bunch of money on it, and isn't it wonderful? But if you have a journal of all of your breakout trades, you can actually go through and say, are these actually making me money over time? Not just that one that was great and my friend got me into it and we did it and it was great and we had a laugh and we went out that night and spent a bunch of money at the strip club because we made a bunch of money. We want to know over time, are these type of trades working? So a journal really helps you do that.
Yeah. Do you find that most traders do have a true rigid journaling process?
No.
Yeah. I wondered. Do you think they think it's trivial? Why do you think they don't keep it? Is it just hard to look at the reality of what you're doing?
I think a lot of people think they're coming to trading to not work.
Wow.
They see it as like an escape from the 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if I can make money trading, shit, man, I could tell my boss to screw off, and you know what I mean? And that's kind of the attitude going in. So therefore, they want to be that way. But like I say, in something where 5% or less of the people are successful, it's actually harder work, and I say this day one to the people that I'm with. I'm like, look, I can show you what I know, okay?
Yeah.
Not only from how I trade and how I approach the market, but how I've worked with God knows how many hundreds of traders in my life. And I have a Discord that has hundreds of traders on there.
Yep.
that I'm able to observe, and then I talk with live time and all that. Um, so I also know the lessons from those type of things too. I don't do trend following,
Right.
but I know a hell of a lot about it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so I forgot what your original question was. Oh yeah, so why don't they do that stuff?
Yeah.
I think they're looking for, a lot of people come to trading looking for the easy way out, and they find that it's not the easy way out.
Yeah.
Most people find it's not, and it's not. It's just like anything else. You have to work hard at it. How
Yep.
many people, to go back to basketball, how many basketball players make the NBA? Not a lot. But I think you're going to find it's the ones that, okay, yes, have talent. Yes, we're born with certain DNA, but there's a lot of those people out there.
Yeah.
The ones that worked very, very hard are
Yeah.
the ones who really have the success, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Um, we see it in the NFL all the time. Being a physical freak um, probably gets you into the NFL, because in college, when you're physically so much more advantaged than many of the people you're playing against, you can kill it. But
Yeah.
then a lot of these people you've seen sign to the NFL, and they don't get anywhere
Yeah.
because and it's always the same story. They weren't putting in the work. They weren't putting in the work. They just thought that they were just Superman, and that was going to get them through.
Yeah.
And it's not. This is high level. You know, very difficult stuff. It's a very, very competitive environment here.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
you have to put in the work. And I say to people, look, I can show you all these things that I know, and I can help you, and we can work on a whole bunch of things, but you got to know that's not going to be enough. You're going to have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're wasting your time here. Don't even, let's not do this, because I don't want you to
Totally.
waste your time. You know what I mean?
Totally. And it almost feels like if there was like a forced gate of entry, that would probably save a lot of pain and suffering, where that hard truth, sobering conversation.
Well, there is a forced gate of entry, quite frankly. You know, there is a forced gate of entry. I think you sent out a thing, and it has a pretty extensive questionnaire about what you're
Yeah,
trying to do. So,
that's
what
true.
we're going through,
True.
there's only so many people that I can
Totally.
do this with, and
Yeah.
it's not like 100, and it's not even 50, and I don't even think it's 20. It's probably like
Yeah.
10 people that I
Yeah.
really have the time to do this with.
Yeah.
So, it's got to be people who are. I don't want to waste my time,
Right.
but I also don't want to waste their time or their money.
Right.
I don't need the money, so I'm not looking to take people's money just because they're silly enough to to think that this is going to solve all their problems.
For sure. For sure.
We want to find the right people, and
Yeah.
to this point, so far, the two people that I've been working with have been, I got to say, they've been phenomenal, and
I'm so glad.
it's been enlightening to me, and it's been very actually motivational to me to see.
That's beautiful.
These are younger people. Both of them are younger people. One of them is a 19-year-old kid.
Wow.
Um,
Fabulous.
but she's phenomenal.
Oh,
She's
fantastic.
phenomenal. She's going to be, I'm telling you, she's going to be something else. I try not, I have to hold it back because I don't want to say that to her,
Yeah, totally. Totally.
but she is going to be
That's
something else.
great. That's beautiful. God, it's a very inspiring work. I mean, I've done this coaching work for 20 years, and I'm inspired every time I talk to a client. So it is inspiring to be a coach of somebody who's 100% in. It's really quite something.
Yeah, and I mean, like this particular person, for example, goes to a very competitive college,
Wow.
very competitive business school, probably the most competitive business school there is.
Wow.
So she's busy, you know what I mean? She's got a lot of work. She's doing her whatever, finance classes or accounting classes or statistics classes and all that. But she's making the time, to spend, it's only half an hour
Yeah.
with me to go through what we're talking about. And she's taking the time to do some of the extra work too. She can't do it all,
No.
she's starting from scratch. She said, "Oh, you want to learn technical analysis?" I'm like, "Okay, well, start reading, Edwards McGee." She can't just go out and read Edwards McGee in a week, because she's busy,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
slowly she's doing it, and slowly she's taking time, and it's I'm telling you, this girl's gonna be phenomenal. So
I'm
anyway,
so excited. So excited. So for those of you who are listening, are interested, please just send me a DM and I will give you the link to the application process. Of course, this is just going to be a very limited amount, and that application is going to really tell Jason if this is even an opportunity that he thinks is a match for you. So please just reach out to me, send a DM, and let me know if you're interested, and then we can explain more detail. Um, I was very excited when Jason and I talked about this because I've wanted to have a coach who specializes in the technical side of trading for a long time. And Jason and I, hit it off when we met 3 or 4 years ago. And I couldn't ask to work with somebody or have somebody that I could advocate better than you, Jason. So I'm honored to collaborate with you on this and getting you some magical traders who hopefully, see what an opportunity this is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
It's been interesting so far, and hopefully, if we can catch some of the right people, then it can continue to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What do you just as we talk, just before we bring this to a close, maybe we'll stay on for a few more minutes. What has how do you respond when the market has been the way it's been just for, let's say, the last 3 months? What are the things, maybe there's just standard ways of looking at the market that you are always in, but I'm just curious when I see different traders speak to the way the market's showing up. What are the kind of mantras you have for yourself or, encouraging comments that you give by way of self-talk, if any?
I mean, has the market been any different the last few months than it ever has been?
Good point. Good point.
I don't think it has. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I trade one process,
Yep.
and I trade it across 37 different markets. So if there's nothing going on in these markets, well, then nothing's kicking off for me to trade. I always put it like, for me, it's like I'm counting cards, right? I'm counting cards on 37 different tables, and whichever table the card count gets hot, that's the one I'm playing at, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't think that the last few months have been very much more different at all than I mean, this is what markets do. You know what I mean? They go
Yep.
up, they go down. People freak out to the long side, people freak out to the short side. We get news flow and it moves stuff back and forth. This is all kind of the uncontrollable stuff, right? We have to control what we can control,
Yeah.
which is our process and our discipline within that, so that we don't blow out and we're alive to, I always say, let's stay alive long enough to get lucky.
That's awesome. That one I haven't heard. What's the other one? Your other one that I love so much. I want to get that T-shirt. Be wrong, make money.
Be wrong, make money.
Yeah.
That's, like I say, that's the whole thing about trying to predict the market going up or down.
Yeah.
Who cares what you think?
Yeah.
It's a good test. I still remember a conversation I had with a friend of mine who, at one point, was a pretty big hedge fund manager, and got lucky a few times and made a bunch of money, and then spent the rest of his career losing money doing that same thing. And I remember talking to him about the market. He's like, "Well, I think that this." I go, "Well, who cares what you think? Honestly, the market doesn't care what you think. Who cares what you think?" He's like, "Well, I care." I'm like, "Okay, good. You care. But the market doesn't care what you think. Trade the market, man. Forget about what you think. Be wrong. Make money." You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to appease our egos, although maybe some people are. And this is where it comes down to what actually is your motivation. And this is a very deep thing that you really need to figure out. People all will say, "What's my motivation?" Is I want to make money. But is it? I don't know. I know that on the surface, that's clearly what you want to do.
Right.
But, psychology runs pretty deep, right? Are you really trying to prove that you can be right? And if you are, then there's probably some behavioral changes that need to be discussed in order to turn you around if you are really looking to be a profitable trader.
I feel that is an invisible driver to many traders that they're not even conscious of let's just say respect, self-respect, respect from different people in their life is behind a lot of sometimes the way they operate, which just is just going to cost them. It's just going to cost them.
Yeah, I mean, we you see it in every facet of life.
Yeah.
People have, and me included, have some self-destructive tendencies,
Yeah.
and we see it manifest itself in relationships
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Relationships with our spouse, our parents, our kids.
Yeah.
Um, and that's all fine. But when you have a self-destructive tendency in the market, it costs you money.
Yeah.
You can have a terrible relationship with your wife, get divorced. Um, but if you are being self-destructive in the marketplace, you are going to lose money, and that's probably not a very good place to be self-destructive.
No. No, definitely not. It's the most costly. It's definitely one of the most
And
costly.
like I say, I ain't judging. I'm just as guilty as you're talking to a divorced guy whose kids are consistently mad at him, and you know what I mean. So I'm just as guilty as anybody else. But I make it my very best effort to not do that in the market because being broke and alone, I'm not broke or alone because I am now remarried happily, but being broke alone is one thing. Being broke alone and broke, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah.
um,
Definitely.
it doesn't work.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work. So um, you have to really get grips on that whole psychology part of it too.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes to process. That's the whole
Right.
point, right?
Right.
Process helps you to avoid your self-destructive habits,
Yep.
of
Yep.
which, like I said, I have many. But as long as I stick to my process, then they're not going to hurt me in the market.
The guardrails are on that 5,000 feet above sea level road.
Right. And, I have other outlets. If what I want to do is something stupid, then I have other outlets to do that. But I don't do it here because, I mean, this is my job too,
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if
For sure.
if I do that there, then my clients are going to not want me to manage their money anymore, and then I don't have anything to do.
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
so you know, this is all part of it. This is
Yeah.
all part of the things that we need to get our
That's
grips on. People come and are like, "Well, just teach me how to make money. Show me the magic system." And it's like, if I could, I would, but it doesn't exist. I can show you exactly what I do, which I do for people.
yeah.
Doesn't mean you're going to make it work
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
without the discipline, and you're not going to have that discipline if you don't believe in what I'm doing,
That's right.
and if you don't have the similar mindset that I have for what I'm doing. Like I say, there are trend followers that make money.
Yeah.
I could never be one of them
Yeah.
because I know myself and I would never be able to chase trends. It's just
Yeah.
not my thing. Does that mean it doesn't work? No. It's proven that there's plenty of trend followers that make money over time.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing, so I can't do it because that's not what I'm about, right?
Yep.
Um, so all this stuff sort of ties into it all. This
Yep.
is actually the important work where we get done with this stuff,
Yeah.
and then from there we can start to build the other stuff.
That's right. It
The
feels like the foundation.
actual trading, the actual and it wouldn't be me showing you how to do it.
Right.
It would be me helping you build it and taking a look at it, and then us going through live time and seeing how it's doing and making sure, like I say, you're staying disciplined to it, and me talking you through that. Okay, you had 3 losing trades in a row, but this is the process that we believe works. So let's just stick to it.
That's right. And I'm sure then you're going to also see where they're triggered, what is going to make them feel uh, not. What I constantly experience with you every time we talk is that you're just committed to beginner's mind. Like even though you've got decades of experience and have seen so much, you still approach the market with beginner's mind.
This thing is just it's out to get you, man. So you better be on the defensive. You know what I mean? You're talking to somebody, quite frankly, I started trading this process in 2000. I haven't had a down year in those years. but I still walk in here every morning assuming that I'm going to be losing money starting today, because it's just it's the nature of the beast, man. This thing will crush you. I've seen it. I myself have done it
Yeah.
in my first 10 years of trading,
Yeah.
and I have seen it happen to hundreds and hundreds of people. I can't tell you how many people that I have worked with in hedge funds and prop shops and all that are no longer doing this anymore because the market, put them out of business. And these are people, for the most part, who are, very educated and have degrees in economics and finance from the top schools and da 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 da. And then there's a bunch of them that weren't that were just
Yeah.
straight up,
Sure.
grinders and were doing well. And eventually it got taken away from them, and they're all doing something else now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a tough game. The only
There-
people I see really hedge fund world, quite frankly, not the only, but the majority of the people, even in the hedge fund world, that last over time are the people that do long short equities, because all they really do is they buy 70% long, they short 30%, and then the market goes up most of the time. So the market goes up 20%, they make 10%. They're managing $1 billion. They made $100 million, and they get a 20% payout. So they made $20 million for underperforming the market by 10%, right? Um, that's not really beating the market, but it's a genius business plan if you think about it. And then the market crashes, and okay, they lose, but you know what? Everybody loses when that happens.
That's right.
So they just make that excuse, and then they start over again, right?
Yep.
Um, genius, genius plan, but not going to help people that don't have the ability to raise $1 billion. And we have to really
Exactly.
figure out how to make money over time in the market.
So, RK, yeah, we're definitely taking questions for Jason. And if you want to come into the room, you can click that button that's right up above your question. So please, RK, put your question in the message and I can read it to him. Um, but if you look at that, the studio restream, I can send it here again. If you want to come in and ask him a question, you can do that as well. But you can type your question in right here. Let me put that in there again. Yep. So just click on that if you want to come into the room, RK, and then you can talk to Jason directly and even have some speed coaching with him if you want. If not, just put your question in the room. And that goes for everybody. We got about 100 people now on X watching us and a handful on Instagram, including Charles. Hi, Charles. Feel free to come into the room too if you want to. But ultimately, you can put your questions just here in these comments or come in live and talk to Jason and have him do some speed coaching for you. This is this is not doesn't happen often, guys. So kind of like take the opportunity while it's here. Okay, RK, hopefully you heard me. I know everybody sometimes is doing multitasking when they're watching these, but feel free to click on that and come on in. Charles, if you have any questions for Jason, feel free to send them over too. What do you feel is one of hi, Charles, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. What do you feel, Jason, should be the length of time? And I guess that this will vary, but for a trader to make sure that they are journaling appropriately, what for yourself, how much time do you spend on that journaling each day?
So it's going to depend on, I think, the type of trading you're doing. Excuse me, I'm eating a Ritz cracker. And how active of a trader you are.
Yeah.
I don't make very many trades, a few a month. So I don't have to sit here and journal every day.
Right.
But, I do a weekly on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I have this newsletter nowadays, we call it, on my webpage that the people that join get. But all that really was my journal for 20 years.
Wow.
Which we've now kind of turned into a newsletter.
Wow.
So I add some things now, but for the most part, it's just my journal that I've been doing every week for 20 years, 25 years. And that's what it really takes for me, because I can say, here's what it's looking like to me. Here's what my process is saying. Here's where the setups are. Here are the situations in which I will take a trade. Here are the situations and the places where I will get stopped out.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I got my whole week ready to go, because all I got to do is follow that at that point. Things
Right.
come up obviously during the week sometimes that you weren't looking for, and you have to deal with that. But for the most part, that's all I got to do for me is follow that outline. And that's my journal every week.
Yeah.
If you're sitting here day trading all day, then you probably got to do a journal every day.
Yeah, yeah. This was months back. You had come into one of the lives that I was doing, and it had been a particularly challenging time. And I just remembered how honest you are about the difficulty. And one of the things that always is impressive to me is when a trader, especially at your level, Jason, is able to just speak to how hard it is and not act like they're perfect and they've got it all together. That's, I think, something that you do repeatedly for traders is you speak to, the challenge you yourself bump into, where I don't know that a lot of traders show that underbelly.
I got into this public life, let's call it, not by design.
Yeah.
I was in this
Yep.
Jack Schwager book,
Yep.
and a lot of people came to me asking me if I could
Yeah.
help them.
Yeah.
I said, I'd like to, but I don't know how I'm going to help all of you at the same time. And one guy was like, well, I could start a web page and we could centralize it. So I did that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't come in saying, I'm going to go and sell, things to people.
Right. Right.
I came in with, okay, people are looking for help. Okay, I'm older now. Okay, I'm kind of in a position where I should be giving back as people gave back to me in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to bullshit them. I mean, I'm
Totally.
here to tell them the truth. I'm not here to tell you, hey, follow me and you're going to get 90% winning trades and we're going to turn them, 100 grand into 100 million in 2 years. And, because that's all bullshit. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do that.
Yeah.
And I know that they push buttons, they push sales buttons, where they can get people to sub to their services because they are doing that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know what I mean? It's not really fine, but there's nothing I'm going to do about it.
Yeah.
So people will learn as they go. And I think they have learned as they go, but it's no different. If people, we're not stupid. We just act stupid a lot because we have a belief, we want to believe, right?
Yeah.
But if we just back up for a second and say, does that make sense that this guy has 90% winning trades? Does that even make sense?
Yeah.
No.
And
if the answer is no, then why am I listening to him?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's true. I don't sell the sugarcoat thing. I don't even claim that if you come and whatever, I coach you or you join our webpage, whatever you do, I don't even claim that that's going to guarantee to make you a good trader, because that's up to you.
Yeah,
I can show you. I can lead the water, as they say, but I can't make you drink, right? That's going to be up to you. And it takes time because you're not going to listen. Just like I don't never listen to people. You have to learn your own lessons. And at point, I always tell people, go to these other places that have 90% win rates, right? And when you're done there and you find out that it was actually bullshit, if you still have money to trade and you're still interested, then come to us. I don't want the people
get it out of your system
until they've learned those lessons. Yeah. Because then they come and they're like, oh, well, shit, Shapiro barely puts on any trades. And you know what I mean? His win rate is less than 50%. I got to take loss all the time. I'd rather go to one of these guys that's, has 90% win rates and is making tons of money. Good. Go there first. Do us all a favor. Go there first. And when that fails, then come back to me, and hopefully I can help you. Our claim is always, let us help you learn to stop losing money.
Yeah, it's a great claim. That's really what it's about.
That's the first thing you got to do. Learn how to stop losing money, and then we can talk about making money.
That's right. That's right. Charles Thomas Hauer has a question. He's in your Discord. He said, "You've been a tremendous help to me. I'm curious if you could elaborate in a granular way about the self sabotage stuff you had to work through your first 10 years, especially those times when you feel you truly have the skill or ability and just cannot seem to get out of your own way."
One, just my first 10 years, I'm still self sabotaging. You know what I mean? You still find a way to self sabotage, right? What we do for whatever reason, this is what we do. Um, but again, it's hard to pin it down because these are issues in your psyche that are very, very deep, and very subconscious. Why do I want to fail? Nobody comes out and says they want to fail, but I don't know, you're trying to make some statement to your dad or your mom, or the competition that you have with your sister or your brother, or whoever else in life, right? These are very deep things to try and think about and try and find the answer to. And I don't know that I necessarily have the answer. What I do know is that I was sick of losing money. That's all I knew. Like I say, I try to manifest these things in other parts of my life to make my relationships better as well. I don't know how successful I am with that, sometimes more than others. But with trading, since this is the way that I have to make my living, I had to get over it, and my answer to getting over it was, again, go through my journals, find the trades that were working over time, find the ones that weren't working over time, eliminate those, stick with the ones that were, build a process based on that, and follow my process. That is what stopped me from self-sabotaging in the market, because I, quite frankly, wasn't having any success in life working, for the man, so to speak. The man didn't like me very much, and I didn't like the man very much, and I didn't work well. As I say, I don't work well in groups, so that was not going to work for me. This stuff had the possibility of working for me if I could figure out how to make it work. So I self-sabotaged for 10 years. I lost money, and suddenly I was 30 years old and I was broke, and I was like, I got to figure something out here, man. Otherwise, my life is going to suck. So that's what I did. I really worked hard and built a process, and now I work very hard. And I still, that's why I say, I still every day come in and assume that it's all going to go bad very soon. And I still, to this day, I'm cheap as a bastard. Because I don't want to be back in that place. I'm too old now to make it up. I have finally made a good amount of money, so I don't want to go out and blow it. You know what I mean? I don't buy. When I was younger, maybe, but now that I'm older, I don't feel the need to buy a big vacation house in the Hamptons, or feel the need to, buy a $250,000 car, or whatever it is. I do spend money and enjoy myself. I go on nice vacations and all that, but I live a very normal life. I would argue my expenses are probably lower than the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
Other than my vacation expenses, but other than that, my day-to-day expenses are probably lower than most people's.
Yeah.
Now, part of that is because I can do that. I don't have a car payment, I don't have a mortgage. Because I paid all that shit in cash, right? But so that's a little bit unfair. But even my day-to-day stuff. What am I eating for snacks? I'm having a Ritz cracker. What I mean? That I bought at Costco. I still live that way because of what I know is the possibility of the other side is.
Yeah. I think that's just a level of humility, Jason. A level of not taking anything for granted and keeping your ego in check.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a combination of things too.
Yeah.
I think it's also a level of getting older.
Yeah.
And realizing what's important.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Did I buy a Porsche the first time I made real money trading? Yes. I was 20, in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Would I ever buy a Porsche again? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
What for? For me, a car is just a way to get around.
Yeah.
You know, um, do I need to live in a 15,000 square foot house? No, I don't. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. All of a sudden you gotta hire all these people to take care of it. I mean, I'm not good at that. I don't want to have all these people. It's too many things going on in my mind. Hey, the gardener's coming today, and the pool guy's coming today, and the maid's coming today, and the this is coming today, and that's coming today. It's too much stuff in my mind. I want to focus just on this stuff right here, right? Because that's hard enough.
Yeah.
So, it's just a question of maybe realizing what is actually important in life. And part of that is because, again, I went through a divorce. I went through a horrible, horrible marriage where I suffered, she suffered, the kids suffered, everybody suffered. And that helps you, again, to come into what is actually important in life.
Yeah.
All the money in the world, and can help you. I mean, when I was going through that divorce, I was working at a hedge fund. I was managing like $800 million at the time. I mean, I was making plenty of freaking money. We were living large, living in one of these Connecticut towns and, on the water and all that shit. But what did it mean? It didn't mean a damn thing, So you start to, as you go through life like that, you start to realize what is actually important. So that's part of also why I don't really go out and spend money on shit, because it just doesn't strike me as important.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. We're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes, folks. So if there's anybody who does want to have some speed coaching with Jason or me, please just take that link. I'll put it up one more time. And then just come on into the room. You will be live streaming with us, so keep that in mind. But if you would like, it's going to be a free session. But sometimes that's all somebody needs. It's just a 5 minutes with a market wizard to take where you've been struggling to this conversation and just, and I can promise you, whatever question or struggle you're wrestling with, you are not the only one. So it's also community service if you come in and have the guts to ask your question in public, because I can promise you there are countless traders who are listening to us that are struggling with the same thing. So, and if you feel gun shy and you don't want to come in on camera, feel free to put your question in the chat. I'm watching on X as well to see if there's any questions being posed there. All right. So before we close this up, I don't know if we'll get a volunteer or not, Jason. Do you feel there is a certain way to relate to the things that go well as a trader? I think it's important to celebrate that which you do well, but how do you manage that being, let's say, proud of yourself and not having it slip into hubris?
I don't celebrate.
No, not at all.
Nope.
So tell it, what does it look like if something goes really well?
This is how I celebrate. I take a nice vacation. I have a good year. Okay, not a good day, not a good week, not a good month. You know what I mean? Have a good year. I get paid a nice bonus. Okay, I'll put 90% of that away, and I'll take 10%, and I'll go on a nice vacation. And I won't worry about the money. I mean, I won't worry that there's a $400 hotel, but I can get a $200 hotel, or I don't want to go out to this restaurant because it's kind of expensive. I'll just go on vacation. I'll be like, I don't care. I'll take my wife and we'll just do whatever the hell we want,
Beautiful.
I'll do that really kind of twice a year, which is what our schedule allows for. She's a teacher, so that's what her schedule allows for. For me, I'd be on the road 365 days a year, but because of her schedule, we do it. So that's how I do it. It's just like if I make money today, I don't go out and go out for a fancy dinner because, hey, I made 50 grand today, so let's go spend it on, let's go get a fancy dinner because tomorrow it could be a whole nother thing,
Totally.
So I don't do that. I just don't trust any of it. And I'm telling you, I'm up this year. If I finish this year up, it's my 25th straight year up, positive. And it's not like I'm making 100% a year. You know what I mean? Some years I'm making in the 20s. Some years I'm making single digits, but they're all up years. And I still don't trust it. I trust it to the point that I do it. I
Yeah.
trust my
Right.
process to the point that I follow my process. And when I have losing trades, I trust my process that, okay, losing trades are part of it and it will turn around because that's so far, knock wood, to this point, what's happened. But, but even so, I'm not a big believer in, and that's what I used to do when I was a kid, and I was doing what most kids do, it was a bull market and I was buying way too much stuff and it was going up much more than it should have. And I was making more money. And, every night, that happened, we're hitting the strip bars, right? I mean, it's normal. Um, but yeah, that kind of stuff does not happen to me anymore.
Yeah. I
I,
love
I,
that.
I celebrate a good day with a good night's sleep, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all a guy like me can ask for. If I can get a good night's sleep,
Good night's sleep is underrated,
that's a
I
win.
think.
That's a win.
I've never heard anybody say that before, but I love it that you celebrate the year. It's not the day, it's not the week, the quarter, it's the year. That's really a powerful metric to pour that, joy into, because it is really the long-term approach. Very powerful, Jason. Very powerful. All right, guys, I'll bring it to a close. I haven't seen any other questions or volunteers come in. Hopefully, we can enroll Jason in doing this with us a little bit more often and see if we can find a fit for those handful of people that'll be lucky enough to work with him. If you're interested in having your trade, trading coached by Jason, please send me a DM and I'll tell you what the next steps and application process looks like. Jason, thank you for today. So much wisdom dropped. Charles, thank you for your great question. And hopefully we'll see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for coming to this conversation today. It's good to be back, guys.
All right, Kim. Always good talking with you.
You as well, Jason.